on, let's go get a wood shop tour. Welcome back, Biscuit Nation.
Woodworking is something we can do as a couple, or if Kathy's busy doing other stuff, I can do it by myself. Or if there's sanding, because Kathy doesn't like to.
I don't like to sand. No, I don't like to sand.
So woodworking is fun.
It's rewarding.
You can make a lot better stuff than you can buy because there's a lot of junk out there. Mm-hmm. Junky junk. And the funky bunch.
It's good for your brain.
Kind of like a puzzle. Keeps the wheels moving.
And it's fun. It's very important for us to be organized because we don't have a lot of space.
Also, let's take a minute and talk about shop safety. Did I sound like Norm?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Be sure to read, follow, and understand the manuals that come with your power tools.
And always wear these safety glasses. I like to keep the shop clean for the organization and for the safety.
A clean shop is a safer shop.
Yes.
And a more organized workspace makes for better projects and cleaner thinking. Mm-hmm. But seriously, if you fight with a saw blade, the saw blade's going to win. So be careful in there.
And that would be ugly. Don't
get in a hurry. Take your time. Think things out. There's no hurry. Okay, so let's go to the shop.
Let's go.
Our garage is 16 by 22 feet, which is pretty good size for a single car garage. Even though my table saw isn't a big fancy cabinet saw, I've built a cabinet for it on casters, and I have an extended fence which allows me to make cuts up to, I think it's 40 inches. It's a pretty accurate saw. I like it. Underneath the side table, I've built some drawers, which is pretty handy to keep saw blades and other accessories.
Our workbench doubles as an outfeed table. It's on casters, so we tuck it under the outfeed table for the miter saw.
With Kathy's car pulled out, the table saw pulled out, and the outfeed table in place, the shop is pretty much ready to go.
So when we have full sheets of plywood, we just back the truck up to the garage door and we slide it right onto the table saw.
I actually bought this workbench years ago when I didn't have time to make one because I was building a house. And it served me well over the years, but the bottom was pretty rickety, so during COVID shutdown I just made a new one out of 2x4s. It's very sturdy now, and of course it's on casters like Kathy said. We store frequently needed items right on this unit, like these quick clamps, and then in the drawers I have spring clamps and just various items that we want to keep at close range. In the large open area underneath the workbench, we store this router shaper table. I really like it. I wish I tried to get another one recently, but they don't make them anymore apparently. I like that it's got the motor built into it, and yet it's not a huge shaper that is going to require me to give up some floor space because I don't have any more floor space.
And the biscuits are up.
We don't actually use biscuits that much. I mostly just use them if I'm gluing up a top to keep things in line. But it's fun to say biscuits.
And it's fun to say, keep your biscuits dry.
Underneath the miter saw, I keep our second router table. I finally found one that had a motor on board, built in, ready to go. Really reasonable. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I got it from Harbor Freight. The reason that I like to have two router tables set up is for when I'm doing doors, so I can set one up to cut the rails and one up to cut the stiles.
Speaking of the miter saw is in the middle of our room, and we have a long outfeed table on either side, which works out really nice.
Really nice.
Right next to the miter saw, we have a little cubby that holds tape measures, pencils, and my favorite thing, the custom-made square holder.
We have a constant battle with sawdust, so I rigged up a dust collection system, and it works pretty good.
We had some old office cabinets, but they weren't tall enough to use as an outfeed table for the miter saw, so we built an extension on the top of them, and that's where we keep our sanders. In the cabinet above the sanders, we keep all the sandpaper that we need.
Years ago, I invested in this Kreg production machine, and it's saved me probably about a gazillion hours. It's the perfect joining technique for cabinet fronts and other projects. I use it all the time. It's probably one of my big three tools: the table saw, the miter saw, and this.
And I am super good at this Kreg machine.
At the end of the miter saw outfeed table is where I store the drill press and my bandsaw. These aren't tools that I use terribly often, so they don't get a permanent spot in the shop, and they're easy enough to grab and put on a workbench.
In the cubby underneath these is where we keep the jigsaw and the Sawzall.
In the upper cabinets above those is where I keep a couple more sanders and also my routers.
And in the drawers below is where we keep the router bits and the drill bits.
Another ongoing battle is wood storage. So during COVID shutdown, we built this storage rack. On the top we keep 1/4 inch plywood, on the second shelf we keep 3/4 inch plywood, and then on the lowest shelf we keep 1x material. I also built a little rack that holds just short pieces because you know you always need them and there's never a good place to put them. This is an overall shot of that entire wall, which you can see has the outfeed table for the miter saw and everything we just talked about. In this old toolbox I keep pliers, screwdrivers, sockets, chisels, and files.
And this is where we keep my favorite tool, the planer. It's pretty easy for Kevin to grab it from here and put it on the workbench or his little table.
In these upper cabinets is where I keep the wood glue and a variety of wood screws. Oh, and plenty of zip ties. This is our pipe clamp rack, which makes it really easy to grab the pipe clamps for glue ups.
And best of all, it's out of the way.
This filtration system really does a pretty good job keeping the airborne sawdust out of our lungs.
This portable work table is really handy. We use it a lot with the joiner and the planer. I hope you enjoyed this tour of our little shop.
Hopefully you even got an idea or two for your shop. Check out the show notes for a couple of the items that we use that we thought maybe you would like a link to.
And as an Amazon associate, we earn from qualifying purchases.
So until next time, keep your biscuits dry. Keep your biscuits dry. So until next time, keep your biscuits dry. So until next time, keep your biscuits dry.
Okay.
So until next time, keep your biscuits dry.